There's so many things I love about trophy hunting, from discovering new games to pushing my own gaming skills, but as with all things, certain aspects just suck. Like, I've gotten over 150 platinum trophies, which may look impressive, but as soon as you start to dive deeper into the individual games, you start to see a few outliers, and by that I don't mean the great games, I mean the exact opposite of that. The absolute top tier dog shit games that I've played for no other reason than to pop a platinum trophy. These games are so, I don't even think you can call them games. These applications are just there for some degenerate like me to buy for a few bucks, play it for a couple minutes, and pop a platinum trophy at the end. There's so many things wrong with it, because why would anyone willingly play these games if it wasn't for a platinum trophy? It's just the shovelware thing, which is a term used to describe low quality mass-produced games that are quickly developed and released, often with little regard for originality or gameplay. But there's a difference between shovelware games and specifically platinum shovelware games. These games are explicitly made with trophy hunters in mind that are looking to boost their stats with a quick platinum trophy, and it becomes an issue when you realize that these games are the equivalent of showing up to a competition and getting a medal for taking part. It just fully undermines everything that trophy hunting stands for, which in my eyes is playing games you love and going that extra mile to do everything in the game to get rewarded with a platinum trophy at the end. Now, for example, you may recall a certain game called My Name is Mayo. It's a 1 hour platinum that only requires you to mash the cross button several thousand times in order to beat the game. Why on earth would you want to waste your time with that crap if there wasn't something at the end? At least for me, there simply wouldn't be. I'd rather play something fun that I actually enjoyed. The thing is, there needs to be some incentive for me to play a game, and unfortunately with these games, a platinum trophy is just that thing. It all started a few years ago when developers started to catch on to the hype of trophy hunting. My Name is Mayo was therefore classed as one of the first shovelware games. But then around 2021-22, things really started to pick up and more games were released on the PlayStation Store, all with one goal in mind: catching a trophy hunter's wallet by giving them a quick, easy and cheap platinum trophy in return. And now there's so many games that are sub 5-minute platinums that you can genuinely classify the My Name is Mayo trilogy as a proper AAA game, because currently, and I don't know if you've recently checked the PlayStation Store, there are so many of these worthless, low quality games littered all over the store for those lifeless idiots just like me to pay €2, play it for 5 minutes, pop a platinum trophy, and then delete it. The entire store is filled with them, from the jumping taco to stroke the dick, like, it is absurd. The thing is, there's so many variations of these games as well that it is literally in the thousands. Because if you've paid for the game in, let's say, the US store, then there is still a European, Asian, or even Japanese version for you to buy and get the platinum trophy multiple times. But wait, it gets even better, because when you've done that, you can switch to another console version and auto-pop the plats again. We'll save the auto-pop plat discussion for another day, so subscribe to see that. But with those auto-pops, you've just gotten at least 8 platinums. 8 platinums at a few bucks each for the same game multiple times on different platforms and regions. How is wasting your money on that and then playing it resulting in any fun? It has to be an addiction at that point, because I just don't understand it. You can play literally anything else and get a worthy, fun and good platinum instead, but all you choose to do is play this crap. I just cannot understand it. However, what I can completely understand is the reason why they exist, because PlayStation allows these games to be put on their store and somehow allows these games as well to have a platinum trophy, which also doesn't make sense because it's still unclear as to what the exact requirements are for a game to be allowed to have a platinum. Like, the Finals has it, but then XDefiant doesn't have a plat. And there's so many other examples as well. I don't understand it, and these shovelware games just shouldn't have it. But for whatever reason it is allowed, it makes complete sense for them to do so, because from an article posted by The Guardian in 2022, the developer of the Stroke games that I was talking about earlier claimed to have made over £250,000 from making these games. That's a solo developer doing it all by himself and getting so much money from it just because, well, if you're in his position, why wouldn't you milk it? I've linked the article below the like button if you want to read it yourself, but he goes on to claim that it only takes him 30 minutes to make a new game. All he has to do is replace one animal PNG with another. No sound effects or new intuitive gameplay, nothing, but just an endless music loop and an animal to click on. It just really isn't a game, and thankfully the dev is aware of that, because he's even claimed it himself, where he knows this is shovelware and it's a stretch to call it a game. You do interact with something on a screen, but it's basically just a glorified app with a platinum trophy. Look, you can't blame this guy for making these games, you just can't, because over 120,000 people have downloaded his games back in 2022, where the most popular one was Stroke the Hamster with 11,000 downloads. And the people buying them are very aware of what they're buying, as only 10 people have ever requested a refund for it. It's just the same games over and over, the exact same thing every time, just with a different animal to look at. But developers will always do that. It's just a simple supply and demand business model. As long as people want it, the devs will make it. I mean, look at Call of Duty or FIFA for example, where every edition of the last recent games is a copy and paste of the previous. There's so little difference between them, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I digress, because there's many more solo developers and bigger studios making these terrible games. The PlayStation Store is full of them, and as long as Sony is fine with it and gets their 30% cut of every purchase, it won't stop. But supposedly they did try, because back in late 2022 there was a leaked email going around of Sony claiming they would crack down on shovelware. It would be games that violated the newer, stricter guidelines that would get shadow banned or even delisted. They wanted to make an effort to take down some of the fodder shovelware games filling the PlayStation storefront, but back then, and even more so now, I don't see a difference. The store pages are still filled with them. From new games added to searching for something specific, it's always plagued with these games. And it can hurt indie developers as well, by hiding their game behind the wall of shovelware consumers have to look through. To be fair, it isn't clear where you would exactly draw the line between an indie game and the shovelware games. An indie game can be short and have an easy platinum, but that's equally the case for the Jumping Taco. Sony just really has to make it clear where that line is and simply put their fist down to crack down these studios plaguing the store. And trust me, consumers will keep buying them and getting more and more platinums. And slowly, they'll climb the leaderboards for accounts with the most platinum trophies as well. Which is a funny thing to take a look at, because these people are turning a hobby into a competitive numbers game. It's really become quantity over quality for these people. I mean, take a look at this. This is what the top trophy hunters look like on the PlayStation Profiles leaderboards. They have several thousand platinum trophies, whereas some of us may have less total trophies than these guys have platinum trophies. Don't get me wrong, if these were like normal, actual good games, or even just decent games, then all props to them. However, when you look at their accounts, it's all just shit. Just pure shit. Everything is shovelware, all of it, every single one. I mean, this is the #1 trophy hunter in the world. The world, right? This guy has the single most platinums out of everyone, and these are the games he plays. To be fair, he does have some great rare games that he's platinumed, but the overwhelming majority of it is just shovelware. And you might think to yourself, well, doesn't that cost a lot of money? Well, yeah, it does, so I thought I would calculate it and look at how much the #1 trophy hunter has spent on these games. Let's say 11,000 of his platinums are shovelware. 11,000, do you hear that? 11,000, what the actual but 11,000 are shovelware. Multiply that by $1.5 per game on average, which is being generous, you know. David_123 has spent over $16,000 on shovelware games. I just don't have words for that. I mean, gaming is always going to be an expensive hobby, but to spend all that on some games that objectively cannot be fun to play, I don't know. They must think that it's cool or something, like they're flexing at the top of the PSN Profiles leaderboards, like, look mom, I have the most platinums in my country, or even the world. It's just an ego thing, it has to be. And I don't mean to sound like that guy, but play some normal games, please. Like, go outside, I don't know, touch some grass. Look, it's wrong for me to say how other people should spend their free time and money, especially on something as harmless and irrelevant in the world as trophy hunting. But it just doesn't make sense to me. For the same reason, I don't understand why on earth people would, I don't know, willingly go cave diving. Like, I don't know, I mean, that was the worst terrible analogy, but Trophy hunting is supposed to extend a game's enjoyment by adding a layer to push through and not getting a medal just for taking part. It just bothers me that the top platinum trophy hunting accounts on these leaderboards aren't, in my humble opinion, true trophy hunters. These accounts are sometimes even run by more than one person, which is kinda sad if you ask me. It's just that I'm very passionate about this stupid niche hobby, and the true trophy hunters that are actually platinuming half decent games don't get the recognition they deserve because of the amount of players that buy shovelware. There's too many and it overshadows the actual fun part of this hobby. And I mean, I've been brainwashed by them myself, as I have a handful of these terrible games. I've always maintained the premise of quality over quantity and have platinumed a few very challenging games already, but on the other hand, I think it's funny to take a dig at some of these so-called trophy hunters every now and then. Like I have the My Name is Mayo trilogy, for example, and that's one I somewhat proudly present on my profile. Not proudly because I'm proud of getting the platinum, but it's actually my 50th, 75th and 100th platinum trophy, and I did that just for a few laughs. But also take Slide for example, a game that literally popped all 14 trophies in 21 seconds. It's a puzzle game and as soon as you solve it, you get a platinum. The worst part is, I didn't even solve the puzzle myself because I used a guide for the trophy. I don't know, maybe I'm over-exaggerating about this and the whole shovelware shenanigans, but it just adds to the embarrassingness of these so-called games. So if you want to see all of the games that I'm too ashamed to have platinumed, then check out this video, and for now, that's it. See ya!